This episode is brought to you by the Fish Sauce RPG. Unleash the power of precision. Our RPG, rod positioning gadget, is the ultimate tool for adjusting Scotty or Fulby rod holders.
No more struggles or worn-out tools, just smooth, easy adjustments. Elevate your fishing game and shop the RPG now.
www.fishsauce.com.
And now we got a huge shout out to our next sponsor, Cold Water Strong. Cold Water Strong makes high-quality gear for boat and bank anglers alike, from flasher bumpers and bank fishing leader kits to kill bags and bleed bags. Cold Water Strong has the gear to make you the hot rod in the boat or on the bank. Get your Cold Water Strong products at local fishing retailers like Bob's Sporting Goods in Longview, Anglers Unlimited, previously Angler West in Woodland, and Fisherman Marine and Outdoor. Go visit their website at www.coldwaterstrong.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Wet Net Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today is, what's today, Tuesday, April 30th.
Tuesday the 30th.
It's my little brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Cameron.
Right on. Happy birthday, Cameron.
I don't even know if he watches this. But anyways, I'm sitting here tonight with Scott Kaul with Brad's Killer Fishing Gear, man. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. We're gonna cover all kinds of stuff, man. I bet you can't guess what about.
Hey, whatever it is, it's all good. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Yeah. This is gonna be a blast, man. First things first, I was not able to get the dam counts in front of me here tonight, so we're not going to cover those. All that I know is there's a decent number of fish going over the dam, fish being killed, Drano, Wind River. Yesterday, Monday the 29th, they closed up above Bonneville for that. It's the bank from the dam to, what is that, Tower Island power lines, and then you can fish the boat from all the way up, and then they ended up closing that yesterday. So if you're going out to the Drano or Wind River for this weekend, it's going to be busy. It's going to be
crowded. Yeah. I fished it last Friday, and it was it was busy, but I thought it'd be more crowded.
Yeah.
But each day,
yeah,
we're getting over 1,000 a day over the dam, which is great.
Oh yeah.
For a while there, I was wondering, my gosh, are they going to show?
Oh, yeah.
Is it late? Or
yeah, it just keeps getting later and later every year.
It really does, which will be interesting to see how they start classifying the spring fish from June hogs.
Yeah.
The summer runs.
Well, and they only gave us 3 days for that summer run, for that summer Chinook fishery. What is that? It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. How does that even?
Just ridiculous.
Man, for a guy that works, we got screwed. But,
right.
It is what it is. You gotta deal with what you get for now. And, it is what it is. Anyways, we're going to dive into pretty much all stuff Brad's today.
All right, let's do it.
A big part of what I want to cover is kind of the underutilization of super baits and stuff in those Drano and Wind River fisheries. Mm-hmm. So we'll touch on that later in the episode. I guess just kind of get the ball rolling here. We'll touch on some of the history of Brad's Killer Fishing Gear. So when did it start? Kind of what started it, and just kind of go from there, man.
Yeah. So. Most people don't realize it was just Brad started it himself.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Brad and his
Schoenborn.
wife. Yeah, Brad Schoenborn and his wife Joanne, tying sturgeon leaders.
Oh, really?
Of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would sit at a chair, 5-gallon bucket, and he would tie, and he'd place the leaders one by one around the bucket until it was full. Yeah. Then he'd package them up and sell them.
That's awesome.
And that's how it started. And to this day, he still ties leaders.
Yeah.
Chances are very good that if you fish one of the sturgeon leaders of ours, chances are very good he tied that. Yeah, he, I think he has Parkinson's,
right?
And he just it helps him keeping busy. It helps his mind. It helps his muscles doing something. And he's so good at it, and he's done it all his life. And it's just unbelievable how, even with Parkinson's, how quickly he knocks those out.
Yeah, man, that's killer.
I can't even keep up with him. I forget the number he had. He was doing so many an hour. It was an ungodly number of sturgeon leaders an hour, right? Like well over 100 an hour.
Oh man, that's killer. Yeah. When did Brad's kind of get the ball rolling? When was it kind of
25
officially?
years ago.
Okay.
I don't know the exact date, but yeah, roughly, just about 25 years ago.
Yeah. It's blown up since then.
It has. Yeah. I've been very fortunate. he came up with a great idea, the sturgeon leaders, and then got into wigglers right at the time that they'd stopped producing the wigglewort.
Okay, yeah.
And the divers.
Yeah.
And he said, well, if they're going to stop producing them, then we're going to start doing this, and that kind of took off, and it just progressed from there. Went from there, and wobblers I think were next, and. Funny thing about the wobblers, he started doing wobblers because of G.I. Joe's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wanted a wobbler, and the manufacturer at the time, for whatever reason, would not supply to Joe's.
Oh, that's funny.
So G.I. Joe's came to Brad and said, "Hey, will you make this for me?"
Yeah.
And that's how
and
that started.
Now they're kind of kokanee dodgers. It's turned into kind of one thing to another also.
Wobblers to kokanee dodgers to we still have our line of dodgers or wobblers and
which is kind of a lost art, it seems, nowadays. Wobbler fishing.
It's funny. Last 2 years, it's kind of started coming back up again.
Has it really?
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. I love wobbler fishing, man. Some of my earliest fishing memories were wobbler fishing down mouth of the Cowlitz area, down there in Longview. Yeah. And, man, that was unreal. That was such a blast.
You fished the Columbia before the 360s.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you doing?
That's what you had.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
wobbler
that was
fishing.
super cool.
So, there's still a lot of people that do it. And on the beach, the guys that are plunking wobblers, you get that 3 wobbler setup, super effective.
Yeah.
You can cover so much water, especially with, line counters and the electronics that we have now. Take the kayak out and, drop the rock and, get them all set up, you get a wall of wobblers. So it can be so deadly effective. And it's fun too.
That's honestly something I've never done. I've never tried that. Yeah.
Oh,
every time I've ever plunked, it's just been spinning glows and coon shrimp. When you're buddies with Bill Rivas, you tend to like the coon shrimp game. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, BJ's one of the plunkers that we go down there with, and he's all in. Yeah, he's fun to have on the beach too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You just hang out, put the rods out, and you're just waiting for that bell to ring, bring a football down,
let the kids run around, let the dogs run around.
Yeah, the dogs. He brings, Rooster-Roo down and, bring our dogs and run around, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's super effective, and it's fun. But, there actually is a comeback in wobblers. And, it's kind of a lost art, but I think people really enjoy wobbler fishing. Mm-hmm. Once the 360 thing came around, it was so effective that a lot of people jumped over to that, and now they're starting to go back, and there are people that are, just truly love the wobbler fishing.
Yeah. Well, and you get so many different people concentrated in a small area. It almost is just nice to get away, go sit on anchor somewhere away from the zoo with a handful of wobblers out and catch fish, because wobblers, those wobblers catch fish, plain and simple.
No, it's exactly right. And it's so mellow. You're just sitting there. You're not having to worry about, just think about what's going on at Drano right now.
Oh, yeah.
There are people that really love running boats out there, that do great at it.
Yeah.
I would not want to run a boat. I enjoy fishing it,
right,
but not running a boat.
Yeah. That's
I would much rather just wobbler fish than run a boat up at Drano. And there's a lot of people that way. And then you look at the gas prices too.
Oh yeah.
Traveling around versus sitting on anchor. I think there's more people doing that as well. So it's I don't know if wobblers ever go away.
Yeah. I hope they don't. Because it's kind of nice to relax every now and then. I haven't done it in a handful of years. I need to do it again. Yeah. So Brad started with the sturgeon leaders and kind of evolved from there. Yep. As long as I've kind of been following you guys, the claim to fame has been the super baits. So tell us a little bit about the super baits and how they came to be in terms of I believe you were telling me before the show, they kind of started on the west side, but they really blew up on the east side with that 360 fishery. Yeah. Dive into that kind of.
Yeah. So they're developed here, obviously, Brad's is a west side company. Mm-hmm. We were up in Longview. We're in Vancouver now. So, obviously developed here, but really kind of took off on the east side. Yeah. With the skinny super baits, the original, the skinny, that's what really took off, and put the super baits on the map.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got some fishermen over there on our pro staff, Dan Sullivan, and in particular, and he really took hold of these super baits and did a lot with them, came up with different colors and stuff. He's the guy that actually came up with the rotten banana color.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Tribute to Dan. Yeah. Yeah. Great guy, very good fisherman. And, yeah, he's come up with some really good color schemes. So yeah, it took off over there, and, we were just oblivious to it for so long.
Yeah.
And it was so deadly effective up there, but we were just oblivious to it. And then, TJ Hester had a lot to do with it. Working with the Addicted guys, they helped bring it down here too. Once people see it and how effective it is, it's game over.
It's game over. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a fad. At this point, it's not even a fad. It's been around. I remember, I think it was when I was in high school, like kind of in that stretch is when it went from 0 to 100 real quick. Cause I remember one summer sitting on anchor with wobblers. The next summer we're trolling 360s. It happened that quick.
Yeah.
It's just
flipped the switch.
The rate that it blew up was just unbelievable. So,
even before trolling, I remember sitting on anchor and we were fishing, wobblers, and had some 360s, and had pretty good current that day. And I saw some trollers that were getting them, and I ended up putting a 360 out with the original ladybug. So it was a fall fishery, just put on a little clinic right there, and just anchored up in the hog line.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And from there I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really something.
Yeah.
So ended up over the next few weeks pulled the hook and ended up trolling them, and the rest is history, right?
Yeah, started an evolution.
Yeah,
and the super baits themselves have evolved from just the original skinny to the cut plug to the mini cut plug and the kokanee cut plug, and they all have their time and place. As far as I've been told, kind of the mini cut plug and the kokanee cut plugs are people really like those kind of in the spring, with those smaller presentations and whatnot. But I personally in the fall, I'm a big skinny guy. I mean, I'm not a big skinny guy, but I like
you and I both, my friend.
I like the skinny super baits. I have decent luck with the cut plugs, just the original size cut plugs. But I honestly haven't really given the kokanee cut plugs much of a chance, which is something I really need to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's the kokanee cut plug for salmon. We probably did it injustice by naming it the kokanee cut plug. We wanted to get into the kokanee market, and I think that's why it was originally called that. But it is so deadly effective for salmon. 3 years running, that was the largest salmon we caught were all on the kokanee cut plug.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is super cool, man. I feel like kind of one of the biggest reasons that I like the skinnies is because I'm a monkey see, monkey do kind of guy. And so you see a lot of people fishing those skinnies, that's what you're going to do. And when the kokanee cut plugs first came out and I heard rumors that the guys were getting salmon on them, I was like, I don't know. I guess I kind of had a hard time believing it until here comes the 3.5 spinner. I'm like, small profile makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Look what happened to the spinner game, right?
Yeah.
It started with those big, thumping big blade spinners, and it's gone down and down to the 3.0 and even 2.5.
Yeah. The blades just keep getting smaller.
Exactly. So and there's something to it. It's, midday when the sun's out and it's bright and the fish are kind of thrown off a little bit. Either because of the conditions or because there's a lot of people out there, running their lines through and they're getting kind of skittish. Just something about that small profile in front of their face. It's, the way they get rid of something is with their mouth, right? They don't have hands. So,
right.
They whack at it with their mouth and next thing you know, it's flopping on deck. So
yeah, absolutely. With the 360s, they call it a big reaction bite. So basically you're just trying to piss them off and get them to swipe. But being able to stuff it full of tuna definitely helps too. So
get the scent trail going.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. The scent definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that I kind of wanted to touch on was with these Drano and Wind River fisheries, where they're kind of primarily prawn spinner fisheries. What would you guess as to why guys haven't started jumping on the super bait bandwagon in those fisheries yet? I mean, I know I've seen Chris Turvey do it. I can't think of a lot of other guys that have done it.
Yeah. And Chris has been very effective with it.
Oh, absolutely.
And he, I think he still runs some cut plugs and some spinners. And I do the same thing. I was there on Friday.
Yeah.
We were doing the exact same thing because at certain times of the day, that it could be a cut plug bite, it could be a spinner bite. And I'm a big proponent of letting the fish tell you what it is they want.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Which, when you're fishing 6 rods, it's pretty easy to do because you can do, smile blades, spinners, super baits.
Exactly. And let the fish tell you what it is they want, and they'll change.
Yeah.
In fact, up at Drano, I was fishing with Chris, and we had 2 kokanee cut plugs on the bow rods, and that was the only time I've ever caught a salmon that actually bit 2 plugs. It bit 2 kokanee cut plugs on the bow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
And it's effective. It's just, it's just giving it opportunity, time and place, and let the fish tell you what it is they want.
Yeah. And the game just keeps changing, because originally you're kind of stuffing them with just canned tuna, and now Millennial Bait's got their mulch, and there's so many different things that are just going to keep growing this already exploded, lure.
Yeah. See, that goes back to the scent thing I was talking about. Mm-hmm. The scent is so important. I mean, it's just, there's so many times that I have seen, you're fishing, you're not getting anything. I'm going to change scent. And, you put on a new plug, it's got new scent in it, or even just put, tuna in a one that you've been dragging around, and all of a sudden it gets bit.
Yeah.
And that has happened too many times for it to be a coincidence.
Yeah.
So it's the scent is definitely something that gets them going.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I mean, you've seen it too. It's, even the garlic thing, it's all sorts of scents, right?
Oh yeah.
All sorts of scents. And Bill's an expert at it. He knows, scents inside and out and bite stimulants and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, the funny thing is you look at garlic, and who would have ever thought?
Yeah.
Who's the first person that tried that?
You know what I mean?
And back in the day, it used to be Preparation H.
Oh, really? Oh, that's hilarious.
You never heard that?
No, never.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Every boat that was in the hog lines down at down mouth of the Sandy.
Yeah.
Had a tube of Preparation H.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So I want to know, who's the guy that said, what I'm going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I don't want to know, actually. Yeah. I probably don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, and then you got WD-40, which obviously took over, fishing for years and years and years. And then they put out some kind of article saying like, hey, there's nothing in WD-40 that says it should catch fish. But I think that was just WD-40 trying to save their own ass. I don't know, because there's definitely something to be said about a can of WD-40 in your boat.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I don't think there's any guy out there today that'll say, yeah.
If you're saying you've never done it, you're a liar.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you can clean your plugs with WD-40. And You don't be spraying it in the water and spraying your plug over the water and that stuff. But I don't know what it is about the scent, but there is something that's attractive to that. And that industry is going to continue to grow. I think BJ's onto something really special with Millennial.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
With his mulch, and I think that will continue to develop too.
Yeah. And he's got the Cooney sauce, and he's got so many different weapons right now. And there's other competitors, and they're all good. But if this might just be because he's my buddy. I'm kind of impartial, but it almost seems like he's kind of leading the way with all these really cool things. And then,
I think so.
And then everybody else just kind of follows.
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting here trying to just, Bill Rivas is awesome. He's just, I don't know. We're getting on a tangent here.
No, he is. He's cutting edge on that stuff, and you need people like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
In our industry, that push the envelope. Right.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Well, it's like what Brad did with Brad's. Somebody's got to get the wheel rolling.
Yeah. Very good point.
And how many different companies have come because of kind of what Brad started? I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, in terms of different companies that are around here. That was before my time. I don't know who was first, but I don't know. Anyways, with the super baits, another thing that I love about them is there's so many different ways to rig them. Do you have a handful of different ways rigged up on those boards there that we can kind of show people?
I do. I don't know how well you can see it here, but yeah, I'd be happy to go.
We should be able to see it fairly okay.
Right on. Yeah. Bunch of different ways. So probably the most popular. Oh, sorry about that. Probably the most popular way that most people see are with the beads. Stack the beads like that.
Yep.
And the main thing is, you're trying to get the hooks back behind the bait.
Right.
So that's the purpose of the beads. From there, people have been doing, you can use tubing to do the same thing. You can also use a bead with a bobber stop. And nice thing about that is that allows you to set your hooks back. If there's a short strike, I think I've got one with a bobber stop here somewhere.
Yeah. If
there's a short strike, then you can set your hooks back. If they're not attacking the bait, if they're just kind of nibbling, you can set the hooks back away from the bait.
Yeah.
And get some of those short strikers without having to retie, because with the beads, obviously there's nothing you can do. You're gonna have to cut off the dual lock and unrig it and slide another bead if you want it to go further back. But that's a super effective way to get it to hang back and back behind the bait and get those short biters. Another way too is to do just a double bead setup like this, and you come through that bottom bead and you run your line through twice.
Okay. Yeah. So you're almost kind of pegging the bead there.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. Just like you might fish in a bead,
right?
For steelhead or something. Yeah. Peg it underneath. But the nice thing about it, there's so many different ways and so many effective ways to do it. It's really up to your imagination. All the way down to something like this where you've got a bead chain on the back.
Oh yeah.
And then you run a single side wash back there, and really nice thing about that setup is when that fish bites and you get it hooked, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It gets in the corner of the mouth, and with the big gap there, you've got plenty of purchase there. To get in the corner of the mouth and go. And it's funny. We kind of came up with that last year fishing with the Addicted guys at Pyramid down for those big cutthroats down there in Nevada. And brought some super baits, and I forgot the beads.
Oh no!
Oh my God. Yeah. So, anyways, we had to figure out a way to rig them, and hey, let's just do this. And sure enough, it ran really well. So
yeah. I had some pretty decent luck last year with basically running three hooks on the setup. So I would do a treble up top, and I would kind of peg the treble through, and then two singles, and you hang that first single right about here to the end, and then you have a third trailer hook right back there. Yeah. And that was pretty darn good for me.
That's very effective too. I think the fishiest way that I've seen it rigged, and Chris actually came up with this, at least he's the first one I saw that did it, but you take a treble, but in front of that treble you put a bead.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't actually go into this hook garage here. And then you get all 3 points of that hook that are exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way this was originally developed, and it's, was to have a hook in that hook garage, a treble, and then you just have that top hook that's sticking out of the super bait. And the two other prongs of the hook run along the side of the super bait. So you really just have one hook exposed. But with that bead there, you have all 3 prongs exposed.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you'll have not only that treble in there, but you'll have the other 2 hooks that are buried somewhere, they get buried somewhere in the face during the fight.
Yeah.
And it's super effective.
Yeah, that's killer. I got to tell you, this electric sombrero last year was a stone cold killer for me in the fall. Because you guys released it in the fall, didn't you? Or sometime close?
Yeah, we actually came out with it in the springtime.
Springtime, okay.
Came out first time the show season, but
first time I had seen it was in the fall. Anyways, and I got my hands on a handful of them and absolutely loved them, man.
Yeah, that's a great color pattern.
I need to get my hands on some of these guys too. What do you guys call that?
That's a Double Diablo.
Double Diablo, yeah.
That was actually named by some high school kids in Tri-Cities.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Good friend of mine, Tony Maluski, does a lot of my painting stuff. He's also a teacher. And he'll paint the prototypes and stuff for me, and said, hey, what are we going to name this one? So why don't you throw it out to your kids? I said, I'll send them a hat and hoodie or whatever for whoever names it. And so they came up with a whole bunch of names, some really good names.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's how we came up with Double Diablo, and
that's a good one too.
Yeah, the young lady that named it, yeah, she still wears a hat. Yeah, it's been over a year now, and Tony still sends me pictures maybe every 3 months or so, and she's there with a hat on, Brad's hat, just rocking it.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah,
that is so cool. Yeah, I'd love to meet some of the guys that have the ideas for patterns on these, because to be in the mind of some of the creativity that they have is absolutely unreal. They'd never even consider half of these color patterns.
Yeah, no, and there's some very creative, very good painters out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Tony's certainly one of them.
Yeah, that is super cool, man.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to touch base on is one of the most effective ways to fish these is behind some kind of 360 flasher. Mm-hmm. You guys started your own, or you guys created your own kind of 360 flasher, that Brad's Evolution flasher.
Yeah.
I've never tried one.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Do you want to kind of walk us through what that is?
Yeah. This was originally invention from Chris Turvey. Had this whole concept, and heck of a mind to come up with something like this and think it all the way through. But at the time we were looking at doing it, on a similar flasher to what we have now. I didn't want to do that. I said, if we're going to do it, then we're going to change up the style.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that are different here. But I wanted it to be, it's a whole new thing. So it took a little more longer to get it out, and perfected. But, it's got as you can see, it's a different style from the others, with the fin here in the corner as opposed to
being further up on the flasher. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can stack them, you can hold a bunch in your hand. And with a boat, you have limited storage, so you can have a dozen in your hand like this, and just stack them, just nest them, one after the other, and so they don't take up a whole lot of room. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, with the design here, these are only 10 1/4 inches, so we get the same thump, or if not more thump, with a 10 1/4 inches than you do with a standard 11 inch.
Yeah.
They're also narrower, but one of the things that we've implemented here is you'll see that beveled edge on the front. Mm-hmm. I don't know how well people can see that here, but you'll notice other flashers just have a blunt edge on both sides.
Right.
That's got a beveled like knife edge.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
So that starts the cutting through the water. So it's able to cut through quicker and easier. And that's just the flasher itself. Then you come into the fact that it's got a built-in release.
Yeah.
And it's just an absolute game changer.
Yeah. Do you guys ever run into issues with a short strike kind of setting that release off? Because I've heard that's a big issue with why guys kind of don't use like the metallic releases or anything like that.
Yeah. You will have short strikes. But you've got short strikes with anything, whether you've got a release or not. You're going to have short strikes. So I don't think anymore. Mm-hmm. In fact, your land ratio is going to be better with the release, because you got the elasticity in there.
Yeah.
And so as the fish is on the surface of the water or whatever, you got the barbless hooks and it's kind of rolling, and that's. Especially up at the net, it's easy to lose that fish right there because, it's there's not a whole lot of line. You got the weight you're dealing with, and then you got the fish. It's going to turn this way or that way, take the weight off the pressure off the line. But with this elasticity, that stretching ability, it keeps that going, and and it keeps the pressure on the fish. The other important thing here, and I don't know if you noticed, is the adjustability. So you got 3 holes, so you can adjust it, from fast to, you could run in, in the bottom hole, you can run in slow current, like you could be running 0.8 miles an hour and still get your thump.
Oh, really?
Where other people have to go 2.5 to get that rotation.
Gotcha. So that'd be a good setting for almost like a Drano where, you might get stuck behind somebody.
Perfect setting for a Drano.
Yeah.
You could sit on those fish, right there at the toilet bowl where everybody's having to go 2.5 miles an hour blowing by it, and you just sit there and the thing's just thumping and increase your bites for sure. So there's a lot of things, a lot of thought that went into this. A lot of things really affected with it. But, one thing that is not spoken about a whole lot is, if you go down to your buddy's boat and you start fishing, you bring your rod, he has his rod, and, maybe he's fishing, XYZ brand, and he's getting a certain thump, and maybe your rod isn't getting quite that thump, or maybe too much thump. Mm-hmm. So with this, you have the ability to adjust. Yeah. And, if you need more thump, you can drop it down and get more thump. So yours is fishing. Yeah. I've had that too many times going with a buddy on his boat. He's running the motor. He's looking at his rod. His rod's getting the thump. You're looking at your rod over here and you're like, I'm just not getting the thump I need, you know? And it's frustrating, but with that, you can adjust it. And so, every rod could be fishing on the boat.
Yeah. That is super slick. Man, do you guys have those in like a bunch of different colored patterns, or do you guys just have the one pattern?
Eight different colors.
That's awesome. That is super cool.
Yeah, it's been deadly effective. It's, you see more and more people running them now. It's really taken off for us. It's an exciting product.
Yeah. I know a lot of people kind of shy away from the price tag on them, but you got to pay for quality.
Well, you think about it. If you've got a release and you've got a flasher release, you're going to pay $10, $12, $15 for a release alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got a flasher built into it. A lot of people are selling them for $19.99 combined. You're not going to get that if you buy it separate anywhere else. So, and just the ability to fight a big fish, runs upriver, and you don't have this big skateboard going up, upriver like that because it's released and you're just fighting the fish.
Yeah.
So it really is a game changer.
Yeah. That is killer, man. What kind of reports have you been hearing lately from that Wind River Drano fishery? Has it been pretty good, or is
it's
you guys
turning
struggling?
On? Yeah, it's turning on. When we start getting over 1,000 a day over the dam, it that area really starts to pick up. Unfortunately now it's just about the only game in town. I think
Willamette River still open.
It's not real consistent right now. No. The good fisherman like Josiah is going to be out there getting his fish. Mm-hmm. But it's Wind River is someplace that and Drano is someplace that anybody can go, and there's so many fish there. Whether they're good or not, they can get their fish. Unfortunately, some people go there that really shouldn't be there because it can be. I mean, you fish it, right? It can be a dangerous fishery with the number of boats that are there in a tight area.
Yeah, if you don't understand how to control your boat, you have no business being in there.
Exactly.
Some guys just hold on to a motor and think they know what they're doing, but your boat moves in ways that you can't quite understand until you get in there.
No, that's exactly right. And the tight turns,
the tight turns, and then also you'll see guys that are almost drifting. It's almost like Tokyo drift. Because you're headed towards the bridge and you go to make that curve, and a lot as you'll get the wind pushing your bow around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The wind's coming right in, and I was out there Friday, and there were 2 drift boats out there. And, as soon as they made that turn and started going up, that wind coming in, pushes the bow, and it's. The drift boat, that bow is sitting way up. It's like a sail.
Oh, yeah.
Not a whole lot they can do,
Yeah. I think, I definitely think that people need to have a decent understanding of how to maneuver their boat before they go do that.
No, absolutely. That's a great point. If, and in Drano, there's still places you can catch fish.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to fish a toilet bowl.
Yeah.
You can still go out into the main lake. And, the day we were there was a very good bite in the main lake. Mm-hmm. So you can go out there and catch your fish and, and not be in that big pile of boats.
Right.
And you can look and learn and see how it's done. If it's your first time, don't just go up there and jump into the crowd and say, I'm here. Yeah. I'm going to start doing this thing. No, it's, it's one that you really want to go with somebody who knows how to run a boat.
Pay a guide.
Pay a guide. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pay somebody who does it every single day. Pay somebody who is going to, for one, put you on fish, but for two, kind of show you how they're doing it, how to safely do it, and kind of save you an ass chewing from somebody.
Or worse.
Yeah.
Maybe an ass kicking.
That's right.
Because, get too close to those bankies. Yeah, it gets kind of crazy to start chucking some lead at you.
Yeah, they start throwing wiggle warts and stuff at you, or wigglers or whatever those are.
Yeah, and it's all, it's all good. There's a line there that people shouldn't be crossing over, and, there's an actual deadline where boats shouldn't go over because that's for the bank fishermen.
Yeah. And there's a camera up there too. I don't know if it's still active, but there is a camera. I didn't
see it this year. I was looking for it.
Is it gone? I haven't. I guess I didn't really pay much.
If not, I just didn't see it. But I tell you what was gone was that buoy.
Yeah,
that they put in last year.
Yeah. I'd love to shake hands with the guy that got that out of there. That lasted all of 4 days?
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But there were some boats out there on Friday. That really had no business being out there. They were, these were tiny boats with the seat, well up above the gunnel on the side of the boat.
Right.
I mean, just any sort of swell or rock at all.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of good that they weren't at the wind, because I drove past there Saturday and Sunday, and that looked nautical.
Was it blowing?
Oh man, it was blowing. Yeah, I seen a video of Cliff Salee. He was a guest on the podcast here a handful of weeks ago. Awesome dude. He went out there and posted a video, and man, he's got what is it, 23 or 25 foot? I can't remember what it is. Anyways, getting blown around like crazy. My 18-footer would not have enjoyed it at all.
Yeah, and the people in the boat, you know.
Oh yeah.
So, and you have to think, it was a decent day on Friday when we were out there. Weather wasn't too bad, but the water temp is still cold.
Yeah.
You go in the water, you're not going to last a whole long time. I mean, it was maybe 48, 49 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's, a good thing about Drano's, there's enough boats around to come and pick you up should you fall in.
Oh, yeah.
But
it won't take long either.
Yeah. But a lot of guys are wearing, waders, and they fill up, and
it's a scary deal, man.
It can be, but yeah, it's a super effective fishery, super fun fishery. Just go with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Did you ever
see what's happening?
Did you ever see that video that was going around Facebook for a little bit last year of the guy jumping from his boat into another guy's boat to help him fight his fish?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
So you can what is it? May 1st, you can fish a 2-rod endorsement in there.
Yeah.
And this guy was fishing solo, and he gets a fish on his rod. He's fighting it. His other rod starts going off, and there was a guy in another boat that needed his fish, and he yells at the guy, "Can I come over? Can I come fight that fish?" The guy says, "Yeah,
come on."
So the dude takes everything out of his pockets real quick, jumps out of his boat, swims over to the dude's boat, fights the fish. They kill it. It was an awesome video, man. I have to see if I can find it again.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I don't remember what time of year that was. I can't remember if that was summer or when that was, but.
The thing about Drano that's so cool is you can go from 0 to hero in a second.
Yeah, and then you can go from hero to 0 just as quick too.
Exactly. Yeah, it works the other way too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, you're just a 5-foot troll away from a triple.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot like Astoria that way.
Yeah.
You there's so many fish. You have a legitimate chance of getting multiple hookups on at the same time, which is, it's pretty cool. There's not a whole lot of areas you can do that.
Yeah.
But.
And then you also have the opportunity of, in my case that I ran into a couple times on Saturday is fish on in front of me, fish on both sides of me, and I'm not getting shit.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Yeah. No, that happens too. It's just about putting your time in, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
There was, a couple very good fishermen out there that got their limit pretty early on Friday, but the couple days before they really didn't get much at all. So it all comes down to numbers and everything else. Put in your time. It's going to happen. Even if you're not doing everything right, it could still happen for you. There's so many fish there. The really sad thing that I saw though, and it's been a trend that's been going on is just the size of the fish.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
just damn near depressing.
Cookie cutter 6-pound Chinook.
I mean, yeah,
that's damn near a kokanee.
That's exactly right. You're catching, I call them, macro jacks.
Yeah,
they're 26, 27 inches, and
yeah.
Oh, it's so sad. I mean, now you get a fish. It's mid-teens. That's saying something.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because most of them are 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, you get a 10, you get a 12-pounder, and it's something to be happy about right now. And that's sad.
Yeah, that's one thing I do love about fall fish is fall fish are still have some decent size to them for the most part. And,
they do.
People love to hate on toolies. I love fighting big fat toolies. I don't
still gonna fight, aren't they?
Hell yeah, they're gonna fight. They're gonna kick your ass a little bit, but that's what makes them so fun. And you say hi and you let them go, and
away they go. Yeah,
yeah.
But enjoy the battle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll give you one.
Oh yeah, yep. They absolutely will. So when you're trolling around, I guess I should say just at springtime in general, how do you go about kind of color selection for your super baits? Because you have some pretty vibrant colors. You got what is that? Is that mango habanero there on the end?
Yeah,
and
mango habanero there.
Yeah, and then you got some electric sombreros. How do you go about color selection? Because I see a lot of guys kind of running these more natural looking, kind of the Mountain Dew looking stuff in the spring. What's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, for me, again, it goes back to letting the fish tell me what they want. I'm a big proponent. Anybody that talk to me during the sportsman shows are well aware of my program. I like to take a bucket. I will take a dozen of these baits. There'll be different colors. There'll be different sizes. I'll have different leader lengths. I like to stuff them all with tuna and hang them in that bucket, have a dual lock on it. People in the boat explain, this is how a dual lock works. Sometimes you get new fishermen. This is how a dual lock works. Every time you reel in a bait, unclip the dual lock, put it in the bottom of the bucket, take a new one, go right back out and fishing. You could be in a bite, especially Drano. You see the bites coming. There's waves of fish that come in.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so you see the rods going off, and that's the exciting time. That's what I really enjoy. Seeing these waves come in, and there's a couple of rods going off. It's just a matter of time to get bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you want the fish to tell you what it is they want. Are they going to want chartreuse? Are they going to want blue? Are they going to want orange? Are they going to want, this length, that length? Are they going to want this size? Are they going to want the skinny size? Are they going to want a kokanee size? Not smart enough to know, man.
Right. Let the fish tell you.
Yeah. So I'll just rig up a bunch and let them tell me. There are trends that will happen in a year that you see going on. Like this year, the mini Mexican hat has just been going off.
Yeah.
This one right here, for whatever reason, it's just been, a great year for
that guy.
Yeah. For that particular lure.
Right.
Yeah. That one right there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That size and that color, it's just been going off. So, with word traveling around and something like that, I'd definitely, put that into my arsenal, whether I would have, at the beginning or not. I would definitely work that into my arsenal. And then there's chartreuses and oranges and pinks, greens for springers. You can't go wrong with any of those colors.
Yeah.
But size, leader length, and all the rest, I'll just let the fish tell me what it is they want.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like we were talking about, the bite might only last 5 minutes, but if you're taking a rod out, and messing with the bait and all that and not clipping a new one on and get right back to fishing, you might miss that bite.
Okay.
Pretty small period of time. It might last 10 minutes, but
Yeah.
it might only be just 5 minutes or whatever.
Well, and speaking Drano specifically, a lot of times it doesn't even last long enough for you to make a second loop through.
Exactly.
Them,
Yeah. If you're not there when the wave comes through.
Yeah. If you're on the wrong side of the lake, a lot of times you miss it, which is, oh man, that bums you out. But
it does. Yeah.
It's fun to watch. And, honestly, sometimes it's nice to stay out of the mess because, everybody, you start getting a halfway decent bite going through there. Guys are going to start, shortcutting, trying to get into the group.
No doubt. Instead of taking the big loop, they take the short. Yeah. They take the shortcut and go around. And yeah.
It gets messy.
Yeah.
It gets messy quick.
Yeah, that's why I'd just rather go with somebody, let them run the boat.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. Oh, you need me to get that rod out of the way? I can do that, Yeah, I'm the dummy that likes running the boat. I can feel the adrenaline. I could just.
There are people that do. Quite a few. Kelly Painter likes doing it. Steve Kuhn likes doing it. A lot of people like running that boat in there, and that's why they're guides, right?
Yeah,
they enjoy that, and I'm glad they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you spend much time at the Wind River, or do you kind of prefer Drano?
A little bit. Yeah. Probably Drano over the Wind. But I really enjoy the Wind. I like that little bubble fishery there. And it gets you a chance to spread out a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, it's definitely. I've done it quite a bit less than Drano, but I always enjoy myself when I'm out there. It's real snaggy if you're in the wrong area. I like to fish close to bottom, and I have a tendency of snagging in there quite a bit. So I don't know.
That's a problem, and that's a problem with the middle of Drano too. You go out into the lake, and there's more snags there than there are right there, right in the toilet bowl.
Yeah, but the good thing is you don't have 100 other boats that are trying to push you through that snag. You can kind of take your time.
Oh my gosh. And whoever's listening, please, if you're fishing Drano, you get hooked up on a snag, please don't throw it in reverse.
No, just break it off.
Just thumb it down, use the right gear, use hooks that'll bend out or line that's going to break or whatever. But, that could get real dangerous. You start going in reverse and, especially if somebody's hooked up with fish and
that all just kind of comes down to knowing your boat too, because I know my boat. If I put my boat in reverse and I want to turn towards the port side, right, so I can take my bow, swing it around this way, it works killer. Mm-hmm. But if I need to swing my boat around to the port side, it don't do it. So I'm backing up in a straight line, and it gets dangerous. So a lot of these guys, they don't run their boats enough to know the little quirks about it.
No, that's right. And you get the wind pushing too. It throws all sorts of challenges at you. That's why if you haven't been there before, go with somebody who has. Sit on the sidelines, even sit up on the bank there and just watch. Just watch what's going on, because you can learn a lot of stuff, and that could actually save you. So we saw a little minor boat collision. There's probably collisions of some sort just about every day there.
Oh, I'm sure there is. You've seen anchors on cowlings and cowlings on anchors and boats into sides of boats. And, luckily you can only really do so much damage at 1.4 mile an hour. But
exactly,
when you're dropping,
so slow.
You got guys that are, rocking $100,000 plus boats in there. Oh man, you don't want to be dinging those up. No. I don't want to ding up my little $30,000 boat. Just because it's what I got. I'm proud of it.
Right.
So,
and don't go up there with a boat cover. It just catches the wind, and it's just so hard to control. And it's why I think some people just don't understand it. How they go this way, the speed is fine, but they turn that way, and all of a sudden, they're going 3 times as fast. The wind is filling up your cockpit there, and it's just flying down the lake. So
you're a sailboat.
You're a sailboat.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I think we might be getting down here towards the tail end of this guy here. What do you think? Do you got anything else you want to cover?
Just talking about rigging. So let me see that. I think there's, so there's different ways to rig too. You're talking about some of the rigging ways, but I don't know. Have you ever heard of the wacky rigging?
The wacky rigging, like with bass fishing?
For super baits?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so there's a wacky rig. So you're going through the hook tunnel in the center, but you're not going through the line and the hole in the top.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That does that just give it a little bit more erratic of an action?
Exactly. Yeah. Very erratic action. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Is there a way you can do that with the original also?
Yeah, you can go. Yeah, you just come out this hole here. Mm-hmm. But it's probably most effective on the cut plugs just because of the bevel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something you might want to try. It's just a different way to rig, different presentation.
Yeah.
It's just try it next time you're out. It's an interesting look.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. Yeah. One thing that I almost forgot about too is you had said you wanted to touch a little bit on kind of a PSA about pouring lead. And the effects that can have.
Yeah, we were talking about Brad earlier. It's no secret Brad has Parkinson's, and he's been a very strong proponent of trying to get the word out as to his Parkinson's and how that came about. He has poured, literally thousands of pounds of lead, if not tens of thousands of pounds of lead in his life.
Yeah.
And he did it at a time where, the toxicity of lead and the issues pouring indoors were not as well known as they are now.
Yeah.
And, that has, if not causes his Parkinson's, is contributed significantly to it.
Yeah.
So, just be careful with pouring lead. Make sure you're wearing, the right clothes, doing it outside, always having the wind at your back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blowing the lead fumes away from you. Washing your hands, washing your clothes after you're done doing it. And life's too short, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I never realized is I've got a buddy of mine, and I'm not gonna name drop him here just because he deserves his privacy. He was pouring some lead, and he thought he was doing everything right. I think he said he was wearing, a sweatshirt and some jeans or something like that. And he ends up getting done pouring lead, and he goes inside and he plays with his daughter. Well, his daughter ended up coming down with lead poisoning too. And she wasn't even in the vicinity of the lead, and it's scary to think about. You can go doing something you would think is relatively harmless, and you could affect your children. That's what kind of turned me off of it. I got 2 kids I need to keep safe. So there's people that can do it and can do it safely. I'm going to let them do it. I'll pay the X amount per ounce.
Well, and as if your day job's not scary enough, right?
Yeah.
Being in the logging business.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Driving log truck, you do some weird shit or weird stuff out there, man.
Oh yeah. That's scary in itself. Loading issues and
load securement and just road conditions.
You guys driving some gnarly crap, man.
Roads get slick from mud. Roads get slick from snow. Sometimes roads get slick when the road's too dry. So
is that right?
Oh yeah. You get a real dusty kind of film and the rock and stuff.
I can see that for sure.
Man, you always got to be on your toes.
Yeah,
but. Man, do you got anything else that you really wanted to touch on here?
I really appreciate you, having me on, talk about the product.
Man.
Love the fact that you're doing this. How long have you been doing your podcast?
I want to say this is week 16.
Awesome.
And I believe it or not, I actually filmed 2 podcasts this week. So I'm hoping to see
this week, and today's only Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm trying to kind of get a backlog of some episodes, man, and that way hopefully I can take a week off from this eventually and spend some time with the lady and the kids. And I don't know. I think that this is week 16 and I'm having a blast with it, man. We've had some awesome guests. It's really grown in the last even month. It went from struggling to get 100 views to struggling to get 200 views to all of a sudden we're getting almost 4,000 views an episode.
Oh, right.
And
on.
it's just it's growing so quick, man. And I can't thank everybody enough for clicking on it and listening to it and all the support. And I can't thank my guests enough, that are willing to take the time out of their day to sit down and chat with me. And
our part's the easy part. You've got the tough part. You've got the equipment and all this stuff, and take it back and edit it and get it ready to get on air. And that's the tough part. But the thing about it is that our industry, right, as a whole, there's a serious thirst for knowledge.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And especially with the COVID thing and that, people started to realize that they can sit there at work on their earpods or whatever and while they're working, listen to podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
It used to be in the work environment, at least in the office environment, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
that was frowned upon. But post COVID, there are some good things that came from COVID. And that's one. A lot of people can just sit there at their desk now, have headphones in, and just listen to podcasts as they're going on. And like I said, the thirst for knowledge in the fishing industry is just so cool, and really appreciate you bringing this stuff out so people can learn more. Have different guests, different techniques, different styles. And that's what I really enjoy about it is just hearing input from different people and how they do it. And every podcast, whether it's a video or a podcast, I think if you're not picking up at least one hint from it,
yeah,
you're not listening.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I guess I could say my kind of claim to fame with doing all this, and I don't want to call it fame. My claim to whatever I'm doing this for is I want to be authentic, man. I want to be raw and original, and I want to capture. I stumble over my words all the time. Other people stumble over their words all the time.
Yep.
You know, I want to be unedited. I want to get good, raw information from people, and just being able to talk to people who are willing to share this information. I feel lucky that I get to listen to a full hour of it, you know, a full hour of it every week.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I mean, I think today that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so much stuff is photoshopped. You look at pictures now, you don't even know, you know, if that's the right person with the, you know, this stuff is getting so crazy, and the technology there has advanced so far. To just have something like this, like we've gone through this whole program, it's just been uncut, unedited. It's just raw, like you're saying. Yeah, we'll stumble over words. Big deal.
No,
we're
humans. It happens.
Yeah, you know,
we don't have a script anywhere. We're not hiding. We don't have a screen behind us telling us what to say. You know, we're just.
Should I take that down?
Shit. I thought you already did. My bad. Yeah.
No, exactly.
We're just enjoying conversation, man, and I feel blessed that I get to do this every week with so many different cool people, man. And I really appreciate you taking an hour to sit down with me this week. And man, if you guys are liking what you're hearing so far and seeing so far on YouTube and whatnot, please share this out there with your friends, give it a thumbs up, comment, so on and so forth, and check out our awesome sponsors. We still got fish sauce with the RPG. We still got Cold Water Strong, and yeah, this thing just keeps growing, man, and it's really, really exciting.
It's exciting, yeah. Appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Tight lines, everybody.
Yeah, tight lines. You guys have a good weekend. Thank you.